All right, this is a sound check. Sound check at 6:14. 6:14.
We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Ms. Henry, if you could call the roll, please.
Ms. Sonier,
Present.
Ms. Val, Ms. Jones,
Here.
Ms. Cousins,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hi, this is Miss Tracy, and we're going to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. So take your right hand and put it on top of your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you to Ms. Tracy for those instructions. Dr. Adams.
Good evening. We just have one presentation and one update. Mr. Davis, our head of security, will come tonight to provide the board with an update regarding security. So, Mr. Davis, if you mind coming. The board should have a copy of the presentation on their table.
Good evening. My plan is to kind of give you an update on where we are in regards to our staffing, the vacancies, our alarm updates, some of our training initiatives that we're going through, and also some things that we're looking to do in the future. The slide you're looking at now kind of spells out where our allocations are. We have 140 officers right now, allocated for 140 officers. We are actually at 103. There are 33 division vacancies right now. One of those, three of those positions are an evening sergeant, and one mobile, and a dispatcher. We have those stationary officers are officers that are just placed into schools. 31 of those are vacant to this point. We have 22 in our nimble onboarding process, meaning they're in the hiring process. That number will slightly go down because we had 6 to actually clear today. So we had some interviews on today. There were 8 interviews that were conducted. 6 were chosen. So we've been doing a real good job. We're getting good applicants in, and they have some strong candidates. So I appreciate you all for supporting our division in terms of pay, because it really helped. It's paying off. Yes, thank you. So I want to talk to you because I'm going to say a few words, and I want you to be able to understand exactly what I'm talking about. When you hear me say security systems, there will be what we have strategically placed cameras in buildings. They have what's called door intrusion contacts on all the exit doors, and there is new recording equipment. Then you also have what's called security upgrades. There's a system already at the school. However, there's some upgrades that have been done to the system that maybe new computers, new monitor, new DVR, things like that are replaced. So we're just trying to upgrade those systems. One of the things we moved to also was automation. This helps us, especially in times where there is inclement weather and we have some absences and people need to get in buildings. The automation system helps us in disarming, arming buildings directly from our phone, just like we do if we had a system in our homes. But it also links those that system to our intrusion contacts on the doors, which in the past there weren't any, but this helps us in response times And it helps us when we're trying to figure out who's in our buildings and when. So the status on our elementary schools today, the 34 elementary schools, we divvy our schools up into areas. There's South Side 1A. Then because the South Side is being it's so big, we have a number of schools there. We also have a 1B. So, and then we have area 2 and then area 3. And if you look at the model, we are almost hitting our target. Before this month is out, we should be at 100% on all schools, all elementary schools that have 100% security alarms installed in those schools. So we really hit our targets. Our vendors have really, and our partners have really helped us in this space by keeping on task and being able to be in a space where our goal was to be ready by school, and this puts us on that goal. 53 schools are all fully automated with our security system. 34 elementary schools have our security system installed. I personally walked those buildings, was able to load those systems up on a computer screen and able to see all of those cameras and systems work. We're going to pilot 6 open gate metal detectors at some of our elementary schools. They're unintrusive detectors, not your everyday standard elementary school. Standard detectors. These are, you will barely notice that they're even there. We're going to pilot those at a few schools. Our goal to be at our allocation by the 2023 school year, we are striving for that, and we should be at that by the time school starts. And 20 elementary schools will have a safety officer this year. Our training, we have to do some things a little bit different. So to address some of the increasing needs around school and what's been happening into schools, we initiated a department biweekly training, which I call CET, Continuing Education Training. This was 4 additional trainings that are installed with our already 14 days of training with our PD. It actually gives us an extra training around subject areas that you see in red. Most of the ones that we've done for the most part, CPR, AID training, stress management, the cyberbullying. These are some trainings that we do every year, especially around our PD time. But because of where we are, we've really been stressing the emergency planning and response, the threat assessment, tactical site surveys, and family reunification, and definitely de-escalation and active shooter training. Our session started, first session started in March of 22. We do our best to social distancing, still understanding where we are. So we have 12 officers per class, and we try to get them in bi-weekly. That session started back in March. We had another session, session 2 that began in May. And then we finished the school year and looking to start that up again September the 12th. And then again, some of the professional development things you saw there are some of the key stressors that we've been trying to get our folks to really, really pay attention to and to train on. This past last week, July 12th and 13th, we've had some practical training with the St. Louis Police Department relative to practical things that are done with active shooter. We have a second session scheduled with them later in the spring. But this is one of those collaborations that because of where we are, we saw a need to be able to address a weakness in where we were to kind of strengthen our overall department. Alice is a certified national teaching component around active shooter. We have 6 people who are certified in that. We have 3 who will be going, who actually went 7th and the 8th. That brings our total up to 9 certified trainers. And again, remember I said we had to kind of adjust how we were doing things. So with 9 certified trainers, we're able to use the train-the-trainer model where we're able to bring in-house our people and we're able to train them because a lot of spaces didn't allow a lot of people to come and train. So we were able to do that with this type of model, get our people trained, and then they'll bring that information back and we were able to share it with our people. 5 of our officers attended the Missouri School Safety Association's Board Safeties Academy. We have 7 who will be attending here in the fall. And this training is another wide range of training. It has to do with de-escalation, defensive tactics, being able to being trauma informed. So a lot of those things that we were paying attention to will be stressed in these classes. All safety officers will receive active shooter training before the new year starts. All armed officers would have had some type of active shooter training by the beginning of the new school year. And all officers will be first aid CPR trained by the 2022-23 school year. All staff members, that's the goal, is for all of us to be what's called NIMS compliant. That's a federal mandate around emergency management planning. And so that's a goal of us to make sure that we are 100 and 700 compliant. Some of our initiatives that we're looking to do is that as we assess security and our communication, there's a lot of products out there. We're looking at a mass communication system, one that connects everybody. In some of our assessments of last year, where we did our intruder drills, we would have the drills would be done, but the food service workers would not know that we were doing the drill, or a contractor who was in the building would not know that we were doing the drill. So we wanted to try to find something that can integrate with what we already have, our intercom system, our fire system, that's easy to use, and that it allows us an opportunity to have something at the drop of the hat that takes that sends notifications to our laptops, our cell phones, and mass notification throughout the building. So we're looking at those type of things that don't take up a lot of space also. So I'm really looking out to try to find that. There are door lock mechanisms that are out there, products that are out there that we're looking at to try to see what's available for us, what's affordable for us, and what's the best product that we can use to help our students and keep our staff safe. The incident command system, ICS training, is going to be a focus of ours. We're trying to find a way to portal that into what we already do, and that's our Safe Schools training module. We're trying to find a way to put that in that portal so it's more available for our people. We can take that and we can be compliant with most of the districts who are actually already doing this training. Our whole division, when officers are hired or mandated to take the 100 and 700 emergency management course, but as a district to be a model for other districts, the goal is to be able to have all of our people trained and certified in that 100 and 700. And I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Questions from Mr. Davis?
I just have one question. It's kind of, I will hope it's self-explanatory. I know with all the new mass communication and everything that you have with the new systems, are you training your officers to ensure they have a understanding of how to utilize the new systems?
Absolutely, but we're still researching it, trying to figure out, and that was one of the things that we're looking at. Something that's that has a learning tool that's easier, not something that's going to be too broad and too hard. We have a unique division that some of our people work 10 months, some work 12 months. So we have to be able to train all of them effectively in the same space. So we're trying to find a product that fits both of those needs.
Ms. Jones, do you have any questions?
Yes, I do have a question. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Davis for speaking on the mass communication system. After experiencing last night and having all the cell phones go off in the house, I see how important having mass communication is. so that everybody is aware of what's going on at the same time. But I do have a question as to your hotline, established hotline that perhaps students or staff, someone can call in and alert you immediately to imminent threat to the school or to anyone in the school. Is that something that you put together or you're working on right now?
We actually have a number. What is the number? 241-7577. That's our anonymous hotline. We actually work closely with our technology department in terms of being able to decipher where that is, the information in our school. So that number is available. It's always been set up and it runs straight through our dispatch.
But I think I'm asking if it's going to be broadcast more frequently, because I mean, I'm not really aware of it. I know I've seen the number somewhere, but like when school starts, will we have it on a flyer or something so that parents or students are aware that this is a number that they can call and get help immediately? If they see something, they can say something.
We definitely do that, Ms. Jones. Appreciate that.
Yeah, Ms.
Okay.
Jones, we'll work with our media people to get that number out much more widely. I think what you're asking for is how widely is it being distributed to families and schools. And so we'll work with our media people to do that.
Okay, I appreciate that. And I wanted to ask if we have, or are we considering adding drones to your toolbox when it comes to protecting the schools and the students? Or is that cost prohibitive right now?
It has been a conversation, learning and figuring out all the FAA rules with those. We even talked about them at some outside events. So it is being discussed, Ms. Jones. Yes, ma'am.
All right. And as far as security is concerned, I saw all the wonderful training that you're going to give to your staff, but will staff or work with students? Will they do any type of presentation, or will they collaborate with the school social workers to talk about potential threats from, like we saw the active shooters, and usually if they're 18 or something, they exhibited some type of behavior that would warn us that they might have some real serious issues that need to be addressed. And we have our safety officers that are on the front line. How are they going to interact and help with students to make them feel comfortable? Because I mean, I know that they're not social workers, but how would that look?
So one of the components of the grant that we kind of talked about, I think it was the last board meeting where we engaged with the police department. That's one of the components where our division was working with Dr. Brown's division as far as the social workers to develop a team that when we have those type of incidents that we're able to respond to the needs of the child. That training took a little halt. I think one of the, I think Megan Marietta, she took a new position. So we're still working to get that team together. We had people who were, meetings had started, but things just went in a different direction. But that was the goal of when one of the components when we took the Missouri School Violence grant. That was a component of that grant, to be able to have a team that would respond and be available in the social worker space for children and even staff.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I sort of looking over your proposal. Do you know how many, and this could be an off the wall question, but do you know how many doors you have to protect at all of our school buildings?
Me and Mr. Watson, we just talked about this. What was it? What was the number? About 20,000, he said.
20,000 doors from all of
20,000.
our schools.
Yeah, about 20,000.
And if you were to design a school as compared to like our Ittner and old school buildings, would you design them with as many doors from a safety perspective? I'm in a weird mood tonight, so I'm asking.
No, you're okay.
Questions.
You're okay. That's fine. You're working on my architectural skills. Let me see.
Well, I guess my obviously, especially in those older buildings.
No doubt.
Is it a concern that we've got old doors, old buildings,
Yes.
old designs with a lot of entry and egress points that aren't
Yeah.
necessarily designed the way we would design a school today?
Yeah, it's tough to manage.
Yeah.
It's definitely tough to manage because I'll give you an example. When we were doing the active shooter training, there were so many doors that you had to cover, and the discipline in doing that type of work is you can't bypass any doors. So what would normally take 10 minutes took 20, 25. So to your point, feasibility, no. But building a school, I would probably I would have to say, yeah, that's a lot of doors.
So it sounds like there's sort of a two-part component to it. One is training the staff.
Yes.
And everybody in the building.
Yes.
So whether they are SLPS employees or not,
Mhm.
if they work for food service or whatever, they need to know doors can't be propped open, they need to
Absolutely.
be closed. And recess procedures and things like that.
Yes, sir.
Part of that's training.
Yes, sir.
And then the other part is making sure the doors are secure, because some of those, I mean, there's some old wooden doors still out there.
Yes, sir.
And that's something that we're looking to replace, especially with Proposition S funds,
Yes,
if
sir.
those are available.
Yes, sir.
And then the other concern is with technology, because at least fortunately, they didn't have it in the 20s, but we've got the cameras, the door lock mechanisms, and all of that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
thank you. Any other questions for Colonel Davis?
I
Yes,
just wanted to say that
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, you go ahead, Donna.
No, I just have one last question in relationship to what Matt just asked about the doors. What about the windows? Because some of our windows are required to have, because of safety issues, have bars or some type of extra iron on them. And so if there was an incident, could our students get out from the inside, or students and staff? And I know I'm hoping funds will come through so we can address that issue as well.
What we've done in some spaces is the intrusion contacts. They actually give us an extra layer of security because instantly we know once that door is either broken or open, our alarm our alarm signal goes right off. And that was one of the reasons why throughout the district I wanted to make sure we put those on the doors. The intrusion contacts, they're an immediate signal that somebody has gotten into our building.
I'm not going to ask how many windows we have.
I have a
you.
question.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm looking at this and a thought just came to mind. Do you have, as part of the training, at some point grounds checks where you have the safety officers like walk the perimeters of the schools,
Yes, ma'am.
from time to time to ensure the things that Mr. Davis is saying, the doors aren't propped open,
Yes, ma'am.
kind of making sure we're alert in regards to that, given the nature of what we've been dealing with lately.
Yep, it's just a different name than what you just called
Okay.
it. It's a tactical site survey.
Okay.
So that's what we generally do before we even go back to school. We're constantly evaluating us to see where we're vulnerable, what do we need to be doing differently. So
I want to thank you for giving us this presentation and doing this work. And also I'm glad to hear that the raise in the wages, that is helping, because that's one of the first things that went on the alarm. Like I heard that some of our security officers were some of the lowest
Yes, ma'am.
paid, even
Yes,
like
ma'am.
$12, $11 an hour, which I think is ridiculous. So I'm glad that we changed that and that's having an impact.
I appreciate you.
Thank you for the presentation, and obviously we'll come back at the August board meeting to update if there are any other things that we need to update.
We'll now move on to the August consent agenda review. And we'll take any questions or discussion about items for the August consent agenda. Ms. Jones, I can see you, so just wave at me if you have questions. All right, no questions?
I just had one. 08092215. I see we're doing the Gateway Tree Care doing a contract with them, the pruning, is that for all of our buildings or just our occupied buildings?
This is for closed schools only. We
Okay,
have a separate contract based on the board's feedback last year for open buildings, but this is strictly targeted around those closed buildings because obviously the grass
right.
really needs to be curtailed in all of those buildings. So yes, this is only designated for those 25, 26 closed schools.
Okay.
Any other questions about the August consent agenda? All right, we'll move on to reports of the board and board items. Ms. Jones,
None
board
at this
report?
time.
All right, thank you. I hope you're feeling better. Ms. Sonia, board report?
I think the only thing that I would really highlight is I did get a chance to go to the 26th ward, and I think they're the new 4th ward, but they were the 24th ward child.
So confusing.
Yeah, but I've been to like, I think 3 meetings in different ward meetings to answer questions about Prop S, and have gotten really good questions about the buildings, and felt really prepared to answer their questions, and got really positive feedback and receptions. I think people were like, actually, like, that's all you're asking for? That's it? So yeah, just that I was glad to be able to do that, and to see that it seems like that they were already aware that it was on the ballot. It wasn't a surprise to them, and that they're looking forward to being able to have an opportunity to support something like that for our scholars in district.
Excellent. Ms. Fowl?
This past Thursday, I was able to meet with the Parent Action Council regarding how parents can have a stronger voice with the board, and ways that we could look at having more back and forth dialogue without obviously overstepping the bounds of sunshine law or, anything like that. But one of the things that came out of that was perhaps a town hall or a Facebook Live session, and wanted to update the rest of the board. Dr. Adams, President Davis, and I have been talking about how we could implement this, and just have a way to reach out to more parents and have them able to ask questions and have them answered on the spot. Because I know people come and they make public comments. Sometimes it's just a generic thing that they want to say, and it doesn't really require a response, but sometimes parents really need to get to us and they need an answer really quickly. So hopefully that will provide a space for that. And then the governance committee will be looking at more ways to incorporate parents from the Parent Action Council as we look for our policy upgrades when we start working on those in January with the Missouri School Boards Association. So we really do want to be intentional and inclusive about this. So I'd like to thank the Parent Action Council for that opportunity to speak and to interface and brainstorm. And we will be following up once we kind of finalize something, and I'll let Matt take over on that or figure it out.
Yeah, I think we agreed that we're going to do something before school starts, and then something a couple weeks or a month after school starts, and we'll announce a date soon and a format soon. I'm looking over at Miss Willis, who's hearing about this for the first time, and so but we'll announce that soon. So thank you, Natalie, and thanks to Emily Kelso and the Parent Action Council, Ms. Funches, for inviting me, but you going, and I appreciate that. Ms. Cousins.
Yes, I have several. This past last week, Dr. Adams and I had the opportunity to go to Boston for a Council of Great City School Accelerated Board Capacity Institute program. And that's what it was, accelerated. We were working for about 3 or 4 days with other board members like myself that oversees urban schools. This was a very informative type of event where I was really able to work with members like me, and as well as you all, in learning how to address and deal with case managed issues that pertain to situations on a business level, but how it could actually be related to what we're doing day to day as board members. We did several things. Several of our focus groups was around roles and responsibilities of school boards, leading for equity, decision making, negotiation, managing complex organizations, decision-making, and lastly, developing a culture of excellence. The school districts that attended this year were Omaha, Philadelphia, Dallas, El Paso, Sacramento, San Diego, Columbus, Aurora, Fayette County, Rochester, and Fort Worth. What I found very interesting when you put all of us together, this was a group of people that was serving over 750,000 students throughout all the districts that we're actually working in. It was a lot of opportunities really for us to reflect on best practices. I think definitely that this is something that a board like this should be a part of, really should have the opportunity to go and have the experience. There's a lot that I was able to bring back, and it really kind of puts things in different perspectives for me as a board member, and given me a better understanding of how I can better serve and provide better assistance, not only to the superintendent, but to the district as well. So this is something I highly encourage we as a board partake in next year if it's available.
So are you gonna throw it in our face that you've been to Harvard?
I'm
from
throwing
now
it in
on?
your face that I am a Harvard certified accelerated.
I would expect no less.
The other thing I want to report on is the citywide education plan. It is off as promised. That we have had going on at this time. I've had the opportunity to actually speak on 2 radio stations, basically informing the community as to where we are and what we're doing. Tomorrow, we're going to have the kickoff. We've already identified our work groups, as I've reported on before. Along with the work groups, we've identified who our champions are. Work group 1 is school experience, Dr. Candace Carter. Work group 2, Dr. Candace Carter is one champion. Dr. Jerry Hockman, who's now retired, is the champion that's working with her. Dr. Carter is the executive director for Confluence Academy. And then we have work group 2, health and wellness and safety. Dr. Seals, the principal of Central Vision and Performing Arts. Dr. Deidre Murray, who she has a huge title. Sorry, guys. Dr. Deidre Murray, I know for sure, is over our homeless components. And we have work group 3, which is education and workforce. I lost my notes. A second, give me a second. I got it. It was Natalie. I knew Natalie. I gave it to Natalie. Thanks, Natalie. Okay. I sent it to you, so I knew where my notes were. Okay. Work group 3, workforce, education workforce. That's Dr. Tanisha Stevens, Vice Chancellor for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion of University of Missouri. Miss Sarita Snyder, Executive Director of the Impact Education Center of Harris Stowe. Work Group 4, Infrastructure, Ms. Marlene Davis, Alderperson for Ward 19, as well as the Chair of the Housing, Urban Development, and Zoning for HUD's Committee, Board Member of the St. Louis Development Corporation, Dr. Gary Kettlebank, Director of Charter School Operations, University of Missouri, and Work Group 5 Community is Dr. Candace Eidelberg, Director of Institution for Social Justice, Harris Stowe State University, and Ms. Ray Clay, retired Vice President of United Way. What I want to make sure, as we promised that we would do, is this is a diverse group. This is not just a group solely of St. Louis Public School entities, is actually a diverse group of university business owners. Tomorrow meeting will basically host all of our committee people that have been identified that will be a part of the breakout groups. And each one of them have been met with, have been spoken with, and they are well informed as to what this process is going to look like. I definitely have to commend and thank Harris Stowe State University for extending and being a part of this process. We know Harris Stowe State University was founded on education. The late Dr. Givens, I'm sure, is smiling down on this huge collaboration that we're able to do. This will be a 18-month process. And I just want people to understand this is a very time-consuming process. This is a lot of work that all the entities that I have named will be a part of, as well as our board members have been identified to be a part of the different work groups. So I'm hoping that at the end, we'll be able to provide a tangible product that we'll all be able to use and address the new age, in my opinion, of education and meeting all needs, not just on the academia level, but all the needs that surround and support improving our academics for the city of St. Louis.
That's it? That's all you've been doing? Nothing else?
Is that it?
You went to the 8th Ward.
Oh, I did. I went to the 8th Ward to present in regards to Prop S. Like Ms. Sanye, got a lot of positive feedback. I find it very interesting how we have so many people that are very supportive of the St. Louis Public Schools and what we're doing. We have a spokesperson that I don't think people know about, but she's no joke when it comes to St. Louis Public Schools, and I want to thank her for always being there. And I also had the opportunity to speak with the 27th Ward in regards to Prop S. What I'm finding is when we utilize this time to speak on Prop S, we as board members, they're asking and inquiring about more things that they wouldn't necessarily know. So I think it's really helpful to see us as board members in those space and providing information that they would not necessarily get. It was interesting that I always get these two offices confused. Who is Mavis Thompson? License collect. A representative from Ms. Thompson was there speaking on what they do, and the question was asked in regards to their dollars, and they were like, well, we give it to St. Louis Public School. So that's like, we haven't seen the check, but that was my opportunity to kind of educate them. Yes, we do receive funds, but we have our budget meetings where we're educating the community on what and how we're utilizing the funds that we're actually receiving. So I think that's something we should really, I know we have enough, but if we have time from time to time, ask to be a part of those town hall meetings so that we can kind of give more information on the great things that we're doing here in St. Louis Public School.
A couple quick updates. This last Friday, we had our legislative breakfast roundtable, and it was well attended from members of both the state House of Representatives as well as the Board of Aldermen. We went over some of the successes that we had last year, particularly thanking the representatives for a record year of funding and reminding them that, okay, that was good, now do it again, and then do it again, do it again. So we also sort of went over our priorities from last year and discussed some priorities for next year. It was really a great relationship building opportunity. I feel like we've come a long way with dialogue with them. They know they can reach out to us. We know we can reach out to them. So thank you for everybody that helped put that together and everybody that attended. This is our last board meeting before Election Day, August 2nd, which is a week from today. Last Wednesday, Dr. Adams and I and Ms. Cousins went to speak to the Clergy Coalition at their lunch and discussed about Prop S as well as other initiatives. They are very enthusiastic about having the opportunity to volunteer in schools again, safety willing to being mentors to students. Also very enthusiastic about helping with hiring with their congregations, reaching out to their congregations for some of our openings. And then also, like I said, we did discuss Prop S with them and we got a very enthusiastic response. I also spoke to a ward, the 28th Ward. So we have been out in the community answering questions about Proposition S. If the public has questions about Proposition S before next Tuesday, they can just go to the SLPS website where the proposition language is, as well as some more details about the expected use of those funds. I would urge very strongly anybody listening to this or to tell your friends and your family, if you live in the city of St. Louis, check your polling places because of ward consolidation, polling places have changed. My polling place that I've always voted at is no longer a polling place. And myself and my neighbors are very distraught about it, but we've been talking to each other. We have a plan. We know where to park. We know where to go. So definitely go to the St. Louis Board of Election website and check it, because even if it's been your polling place since time began, it may not be your polling place again. So I really hope people aren't surprised when they go to vote to find out that there's nobody there. So I strongly, talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors, talk to your relatives, and make sure that they know to check their polling place. But the Prop S is up on the ballot next Tuesday, August 2nd. Polls open at 6 a.m. They close at 7 p.m. I can keep repeating myself, but I think the message is clear. And Dr. Adams, did you have more to say about back to school?
The board received a packet that I provided to them. I'll give the full update at the next board meeting, but just want the public to be aware that the district will be providing free of charge supply list. The boxes behind me that you see on the counter here, that every student in grades K through 12 will receive a free packet of information, as well as a book bag, a clear book bag for every single student. Our teachers will also be receiving a bag as well. And so I'll give the board a full update at the next meeting. Don't want to necessarily do it at this point in time, but just to make the public aware, we'll be sending this out electronically such that parents won't be purchasing these items. All of these items students will get when they come to school on the first day, every single student. No student will be left out as it relates to that. The last thing I kind of want to give an update is that the back to school fair is on the 5th of August. I'm sorry, the 6th, I apologize,
Right.
the 6th of August. In partnership with the Urban League, we won't have a meeting before that point in time. So I want to make sure that I put that out there as well. And lastly, as the public is aware, we had real challenges around transportation last school year. We're working furiously with our new bus company to make sure that communication will take place as early as next week, such that they'll know what their routes are. We'll be using transportation, yellow buses, cabs, as well as vans to try to accommodate all of our 19,000 students who have access to transportation. We normally transport about 15,000 students, but the beginning of the process will begin next week. Obviously, it's going to be we have to be flexible because some people have moved over the summer, and we have to get new information and reroute and all of those kinds of things. So we'll have also a bank available, a phone bank available with at least 10 persons who will be answering phone calls as early as the first week in August, such that we could try to accommodate any communication challenges that might take place. So that's where we are at this point in time. Normally we send mail out in bulk. We'll be sending mail out in first class, such that that mail could get to families as quickly as possible. So please work with us. More information will be forthcoming regarding that. A real key to this whole issue is communication. And so we want to make sure that we're communicating with our families as it relates to transportation. So those are the items I have at this point in time, Mr. President, just to make everybody aware. And I want to reiterate what Mr. Davis said. August 2nd, please go out and vote. It's very important that you exercise your right to vote. We believe that the students of St. Louis Public Schools deserve you to vote in a way that will support our students. And so we ask that you please go out and vote on the 2nd.
And I just want to add, whoever I want to commend, or communications department or PR department, the public relations, everything that you guys have been doing in promoting SLPS, the I Love SLPS stickers, the signs. When I tell you, you guys have worked hard in promoting and posting it, where I'm getting calls like, Ms. Cousins, what's the yellow signs? So I think that's good. That's an excellent way to market and show really what we're doing. So I want to commend you guys on a job well done in regards to that.
Yeah, I was going for a run, and a man in his car was like, hey, can I give you a flyer? Can I give you a flyer? And he was giving me a flyer to the back to school event. And I'm like, well, thank you. I'm on the board, so I knew about this, but thank you. But even seeing people out in the community really spreading the word about the event. I've seen it all over social media. I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm gonna do about SLPS scholars following me, because apparently we on TikTok now. And but I love that we are everywhere. Like I have seen us, I remember us having meetings talking about marketing and talking about PR and talking about it. And now like I can't go anywhere without seeing a sign for Prop S or I love SLPS stickers. And I even just be getting emails about, can I get shirts and can I get yard signs and stuff. So I'm glad that people just are finding that sense of pride in the institution. I really think to me, that's what it signals. And I'm glad that, you know, our community is feeling that.
Compliments to the PR department under Mrs. Willis and her team. They've been working incredibly hard, and obviously not just this, but citywide plan, the number of things. And obviously, as soon as August 2nd comes, we'll be advertising for pre-K as well as aggressively as we're doing now. So that will be the next step on August the 3rd. They're already teed up, ready to go.
I just wanted to circle back to an announcement that you made, Dr. Adams, about the school supplies. I think it's really, really fantastic that we are providing school supplies. We talk all the time about being a trauma-informed district. We have over 85% of our children and families qualify for free and reduced lunch, but we provide that to the entire district. And I think that removing that stress from parents to have to go out and shop and to find the best prices and to hope that the store near them is not out of crayons, I think that is leaps and bounds ahead of what a lot of other districts are doing. And we have unique challenges, but I think that really shows that we are meeting them, that we are seeing what our students need and we are meeting those needs before we're asked. So just, it is really fantastic for me to see backpacks full of stuff instead of kids showing up needing something. So applause for that, really. Whoever put that together, you all are doing great things.
Dr. Williams and Dr. Crapo and her team and Mrs. Vanoy did the ordering. And so all the supplies are in. We will be giving them out on the first day of school. When students come, those supplies will be on their desks. They'll take them home on the first day, clear book bags, which we've been crying for. The security report was done today, and there'll be clear book bags. And those students who have personal items, there'll be a personal packet that they'll be able to put some things in that packet such that they're not seen by everybody else.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, can we get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Ms. Sonier,
Yes.
Ms. Val,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Cousins,
Yes.
Mr. Davis.